Okay, after a little break of Thanksgiving, we got to remember where we are here in our story about Mufatu, the boy who has no courage. He's left his island. He wants to go see if he can make it on his own. With a little help of a storm, he gets shipwrecked on an island where there's nobody inhabited, or at least that's what he thinks so far. Now he's climbed to the top of this peak, this cone-shaped part of the island, and now he's looking. He stood there looking off to the southwest, and all at once his heart gave a jump, and he strained forward. A cone shape, vague as a cloud upon the horizon, showed him the existence of another island. It must have been 50 miles distant. As the boy watched eagerly, scarcely daring to believe the testimony of his eyes, he saw what might have been a column of smoke lifting high into the air from the peak of the cone. He had heard Grandfather Raoul tell of the Smoking Islands, the home of the savage tribes. They were the dark islands of the eaters of men. Was that distant island one such? Perhaps this very island upon which he stood belonged to them too. It was a terrible thought. As he stood there, surveying his world, the wind that swept up from the wide Pacific beat hard against him, whistling in his ears. Almost he had to lean against it to keep his balance. It was a southwest wind that blew straight from the Smoky Islands, whipping the sea to anger. Inside the barrier reef, the water deepened and the shoaled in changing hues. Up here, the whole world seemed consumed with light and color. Far off in the mist of gulls drifted upon the breaking surf, their hoarse cries as unceasing as the hum within the shell. Towering above Mufatu's head, the basalt cone of the island looked as soft in hue as an amethyst, broken and worn by 1,000 years of wind and storm. He observed that the barrier reef encircled the entire island. There were only 2 openings in the reef through which the canoe might enter. One opening lay on the side of the island where Mufatu had been cast ashore. The other was here on the southwest, facing the distant Smoking Island. In each case, the opening was caused by a river which flowed from the mountain down into the lagoon. For the tiny coral polyp which builds up its ramparts from the floor of the sea cannot withstand fresh water. Wherever a river flows into the sea, there will be a breach in the barrier reef. Mufatu jumped in alarm as a wild boar. Now we got this animal, a wild boar that's like a pig, and it's got big tusks on it, crashed through the undergrowth. It was so close to the boy he caught a glimpse of its dark hide. Yuri leaped in pursuit. Now his dog's going to chase it. Barking furiously, Mufatu relaxed and a smile crossed his face. Pig roasted underground in a hot oven stone of the Imu Ai. His mouth watered at the golden prospect. Remember, he's starving. He found some fresh water, but so far that's all that he's had. He would make a spear and kill the Pau. That's what he would do. He was fired with excitement and set for the adventure. Then the thought of killing a wild boar in a single-handed combat struck him dumb with wonder. Why, he would never have dreamed of such a thing in Haikura. He was Mufatu, the boy who was afraid. He set his jaw with fierce resolute. He had never known a man who killed a wild boar. But Grandfather Raoul, who had traveled as far as the distant Tahiti, had told how the warriors of that island killed pigs in the mountains with naught but a knife for a weapon, bracing themselves so that the animal impaled itself upon the blade. It needed a strong arm and stout heart. Could he, Mufatu, ever accomplish such a feat? Grandfather brought back with him a necklace made from the curling tusks of a boar, and Mufatu could remember to this day how the dark blue skulls of tattooing on old man's copper flesh set off a handsome ivory teeth. The necklace was the envy of every man in Haikura, and its possession earned Grandfather much respect. So they killed this wild boar, and then they take those teeth and they put it on a necklace, and then they would wear it around their necks. And boy, that would show what a great, strong warrior you were. I will make such a necklace for myself from the tusk, the boy promised bravely. And when I return to Haikura, men will look up to me and say, there goes Mufasa. He killed the wild boar single-handedly. And Tabenue, my father, will be filled with pride. The prospect of returning home set another train of thought in motion. I must find a tree, a tamunu, for my canoe, the boy said aloud. I will burn it out, then make a daze of bath salt to finish it. That's like a tar to put on the inside so it's waterproof. I'll plane it and sail. I'll plate a sail of Pandora's, and oh, it will be a wonderful canoe. At that moment his eyes fell upon a mango tree loaded with juicy fruit, and he plucked a fruit and sank his teeth into the rosy pulp. For a few seconds while he ate his fill and the juices ran down over his chin, he forgot all about his canoe, forgot that he needed a shelter, he needed food, he needed fire, he needed weapons. Then, his hunger satisfied, his mind ran ahead again to the happy day when he would set sail for Haikura, with all his demons put to rout, and the bright flame of courage burning in his heart. Never again would he be called Mufasa, the boy who was afraid. He stood there taut, with purpose, high above the demon sea. Maui, god of the fishermen, hear me, he pleaded. I shall return home one day, I swear it. My father, Tabenue, will be filled with pride at my homecoming. It is a vow that I take now, O Maui. I have spoken. Boy, he's got a lot to do. He's going to kill this animal. Before he kills the animal, he's got to get some tools so he can make a weapon, and he's got to build a canoe, and he's got to find food and fire and build a shelter, and I hope we haven't forgotten, he still needs to make himself a little skirt or some shorts or something. All right, well, let's find out what he does first tomorrow.